Hello everyone, this is Mr. Entertainer and welcome to Mr. Entertainer Reviews, the show where I review something like a CD, DVD, TV show, gig, or anything at all. And I have had some great comments on my last show and I'm going to read them out right now. Uh, Craig Wilson says, good job Mr. E. Thank you Craig if you're watching this. And Ultrasonic Hero wrote, once again, another awesome review video, Mr. Entertainer. And he put a little smiley on the end there. So thank you, Ultrasonic Hero, if you're also watching. Now, uh, my next review is going to be on the Crystal Maze. Because it's back on Channel 4. Um, but it was a one-off special for charity. But for those of you who weren't around when the Crystal Maze was around at the time, this was what it was all about. Um, the show is set in the Crystal Maze itself, which features four different time zones set in various periods of time and space. Now, a team of six contestants to take part in a series of challenges in order to win crystals. And each crystal gives the team 5 seconds of time inside the crystal dome, which is where they go to at the end. Now, the original maze itself, cost £250,000 to build, and it was the size of two football pitches. So at its height, it was the most watched show on Channel 4, and it regularly attracted between 4 and 6 million viewers a day. And it recently came back in 2015 as a live experience, so that fans of the show or anyone who hasn't seen the show could experience it for themselves. And just recently, it came back for a one-off special for Stand Up to Cancer. Uh, it was set back in 1990 all the way to 1995, and it was originally hosted by Richard O'Brien, who also made an appearance in the most recent special, and then Ed Chudapole took over in 1993, in the Christmas special, and then just recently Stephen Merchant took over the role as Maze Master. Now, a total of over 80 teams had taken part in the show, and but it was 85 to be precise because another team had just played, and only 19 of them had won the big prize, but now it's 20 because the most recent team had won the big prize as well. But a further 17 won the secondary prizes, which were offered in Series 1 for getting a gold token total of between 50 and 99. Now, there were four categories of games, and it was a skill which tests like dexterity, accuracy, and etc. And physical games, which were tests of speed and strength, and mental games, what I can't clearly say is it, that tests of knowledge and brain power, and mystery games, which do not actually fall under the same category of the other three categories. And but the there were two ways of getting locked into in a game cell, and that was exceeding the time limit, which was between 2 and 3 minutes, uh, which is how long each game lasted. But some of them did last 2.5. And there was the dreaded automatic locking games, which means that there were strict rules on this one, meaning that any time in an automatic locking game, if you make 3 mistakes, then you would get locked in. Uh, and just recently, Sarah Cox, because it was celebrities that were taking part in the most recent one-off special, Sarah Cox had locked herself in the latest game at the time, and that was and it was the final game they played before they went to the Crystal Dome. Now the 4 zones were Aztec, futuristic, medieval, and industrial. But when Ed Tudipo took over, they added on the ocean zone, and Richard O'Brien did present the show in 1993 when the ocean zone was added on. And one of the other characters that was introduced was Mumsy. And Mumsy was usually a fortune teller that asked 3 questions, and if the contestant had got the correct answers, they would get a crystal. But the final part of the Crystal Maze was the Crystal Dome itself. Because they would use the time they accumulated in order to collect as many gold credits as they possibly could and post them through the letterbox, or later on it was called the Cosmic Pyramid. But any silver ones they collected was deducted from their total. But in the most recent one-off special, if they collected 100 or more gold, they would get £15,000. If they collected over 450 gold, they would get £20,000. But if they collected over 200 gold, which was a lot to ask for, they would have won £25,000. And when the first whistle was blown, they would start collecting, and if the second whistle was blown, they would stop collecting. And at the end, the tokens would be counted up, and they would find out how much they earned in the end. In the most recent one-off special, the team had collected 351 gold and 127 silver, which meant they got a total of 224 gold, which meant that the celebrity team had won £25,000 for Stand Up to Cancer, which was the charity they were playing for. And it was a fantastic show, and all the other older episodes are on YouTube, and if you haven't watched it, then go and watch it, because it's a fantastic show. Now, I'm going to give the Crystal Maze a rating of 10 out of 10. And the reason for that is because the show is brilliant, the games that they play in the maze are brilliant, the zones that they go to are great, and the Crystal Dome itself, that is just phenomenal. Anyway, that's it for today. Now, if you haven't watched any of the earlier episodes in this series of Mr. Entertainer Reviews, you can watch them on my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at Mr. Entertainer91. You can also check me out on Instagram, Mr. Entertainer91. And that is it for today. So, This has been Mr. Entertainer, and I will see you next time. See ya.